Hello, my name is Jonathan Russell. This is my Pecha Kucha assignment. I'm doing it on the story of my brother and I's first book. It's called The Tales of Magnaral, The Soul Forger. It's the first book of a many book series. This all kind of started back in the day, about 4 years ago, when me and my brother were playing Aeon. I had just got a brand new Alienware laptop, and we were playing Aeon. And a pile of Mountain Dew cans later, my brother, who's on the right, looked at me and he said, "Dude, if we were going to write a book, what would it be about?" And we already had tons of ideas that we had thrown about in the past, but this time we decided we were going to take it seriously, actually sit down and write. And that's how we came up with Russell Brothers, which in turn brought about Our Bros Inc. Now, Our Bros Inc. is just a little tag thing we made for ourselves, jokingly about, man, if we started a company, based on us and based on our book and everything else that we do, what would that be? Our Bros Inc. What's your fantasy? Fantasy novel. I enjoy fantasy games. We're big fantasy fans, so that's how that started. What you see here is this is one of the first renditions when we were working on a title page. I'm sorry, title cover for our book. It was kind of cheesy. That's meant to be the main character's weapon, this flaming purple axe. And as you can tell, we weren't very good at it. We made this axe up. We came up with this title page. And man, looking back at it, I can't even believe we actually submitted that. We published it to Smashwords at first, a self-publishing website for ebooks, which was really enjoyable. We didn't sell anything though. We eventually even tried breaking it down into 3 separate parts to try and sell it cheaper and faster. This is the back of our book. This is the basic tagline we came up for the book. Basically, your elevator pitch. When people look at the back of the book, this is what they read and they say, "Oh, this book sounds cool." So the main character's name is Torture. So that's where that comes from. Um, After we messed around with the cover for a little bit more on Smashwords, we came up with a buddy of mine up in Connecticut. His name is Chase. He's a great artist. I asked him, I was like, read the book and draw this picture. We gave him a description of what we wanted, and this is one of the concept arts he came up with. Unfortunately, he's too busy working on his own graphic novel to keep doing art for us. So we reached out to the internet, and of course, we came up with some terrible, terrible clip art designs. I mean, absolutely horrible. We thought, some cool tribal might make it better, and clearly, I mean, you look at these pictures and you know that those wouldn't help the cover at all. So we kept trying, and over time, we eventually found this awesome picture of this castle, and we loved it. We looked it up. We made sure there was no copyrights or anything that we could find on it. And we took this castle, and we're like, well, that looks like the castle we describe in one of the castles we describe in our books. So we wanted to take this castle and use it somehow. And with that, we came up with this new title page. We cleaned up the picture, the axe a little bit, cleaned up the text, made it a little bit neater, prettier, resubmitted our cover page to Smashwords, and went with this one instead. We thought it was overall cooler. We used Photoshop to do a lot of the editing, which that was a learning process all on its own. At one point, we also, like I said before, we broke the book down into 3 different individual parts, and we were looking at the cover page and we were just kind of like, man, this is dumb. It's the same exact thing, just, part one, part two, part three. It's lame. We had to try harder if we wanted people to look at our stuff and take us seriously. So when we started, we reached out to the internet again to get some better pictures. And we found this cool axe and we found this handprint. So one of the main character's weapon is an axe that he forges out of vengeance. And he takes his hand as it's still molten hot and he puts his hand in it and he dips it in this trough of blood. And when he pulls it out, the handprint is all silver on it. Another thing we wanted to do was we wanted more realistic backgrounds. So we got this really nice picture of these mountains and these really nice picture of this dark tree line to put in front of it to cover up the reflection of the mountains on the bottom. And with that, we came up with a new cover page. The new cover page was a lot better than the first ones. Oh, I can't even forget about this. One of the main character's abilities is because of the purple flame. We loved the purple background. And the lightning strikes. The main bad guy, his main ability is to use this crackling dark lightning. So we were like, man, we'll take this, we'll darken it up, we'll shade it out a little bit better, and we'll come up with this. This is cover version number 3. We redesigned the axe, made it look like it was broken, added the silvery handprint to it, faded it out over this picture, over that same picture of the castle, but we reversed the picture. We added the tree line in the background, if you can see it. and then we had the other background, and then we switched it to this background to match the front cover. And that's important because you want symmetry in your books. One of the things people told us when we were doing research about it was symmetry. And the thing about symmetry is all people look for symmetry. So the cover kind of mirrors the back a little bit. This was when we had it printed with CreateSpace. We were actually doing in print copies, which was a really cool service that Amazon offers with this CreateSpace program. So it's no longer in print only because when we spoke to an agent, they told us to take it off since we weren't selling. This is from our first book signing. We did it at a small bookstore called Katy Budget Books out in Katy, Texas. We had t-shirts made up. We got all cleaned up. We printed out, I think, 40 copies of the book, and we sat there. We actually did pretty well. We sold a lot of autographed copies. People were excited to talk to us. It was really cool. This is the cover version 4, I should say, even though it's labeled version 2 on my computer. I don't know why. We lightened up certain aspects, stretched out the lightning a little bit more so that the text on the back was easier to see. And it's dark on screen, but in print, the black pops a lot more. And right now, where we're sitting at with our first book is the rewrite. This is the biggest, most difficult part of the whole process. After having an agent read it and tell us that we needed to add more to it. So that's where we're at with our book now. If anybody's interested in getting a copy of it, let me know. Shoot me an email, jrussell911@live.com. That was my assignment. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope I did a good job on it. I, you know, would appreciate any input you guys have. Like I said, jrussell911@live.com. Go ahead and shoot me a line. Thank you very much.